Hi, I'm Stefano Venerato, and today we are going to be looking at 6 Chardonnays under $10 a bottle because I still hate myself. We have, 4 from California today, 1 from France and 1 from Washington State. I tried to find some cheaper ones from France under the $10, but it's really kind of difficult because the importing obviously adds some of the cost. So we're mainly looking at the mainland US today. So we have 14 Hands, which is the one from Washington, Firebrand Barrel Fermented from California, Bishop Pine, also California, whatever this one is from California, A3 from California, and however you pronounce this one from France. Chardonnay is something that I feel like people either love or hate. You know, it tends to either be buttery, oaky, or a lot of other strong flavors. If you like some of these strong flavors, they can be great wines for you. If they're not your thing, they can kind of be a bit too much. For the cheaper ones, I'm assuming we're going to see things that are kind of straying in one direction in terms of extreme flavor. So we're going to see how they measure up and see if any of these are drinkable. All right, the first one is a 2020 14 Hands Chardonnay from Washington. I don't drink a lot of Chardonnay to begin with. I drink a decent amount of the white Burgundy and some of the French whites, and the way that they're done in French oak, and there's a lot of different ways that they're done versus the US, so I'm interested to see the difference. I usually am not super fond of the oaky. Some of the buttery is okay. We're going to see how this one is doing and see if this wine for about $9 a bottle stacks up for a Chardonnay. I think this is actually pretty pleasant. It's a little buttery, a little vanilla. The aftertaste is not the best, but you expect that for $9. There's a little bit of citrus, a little bit of oak, but I feel like it's more of a buttery wine. This is something that I would probably pair with a cheese platter, something like that. A little bit of the nutty. I think the nutty flavors would go really well with this. Honestly, pretty surprised. I expected all of these to be pretty terrible, but for $9, this is an okay wine. This is something that I think you put out, no one's going to be upset with it. It offers not complexity, but it gives you something to ponder about in terms of the flavor, and that's something that I appreciate for $9. So, okay, good start. And this is from Washington State, so didn't know much about Chardonnays from that area, but I guess they have a climate for it, so we'll see what they do in the years to come. Next up is the Firebrand Chardonnay from California. This is barrel fermented. This is going to be a bit more oaky. Smells a bit more oaky than the others. I don't really know much about this winery. I've seen it around, but it's one of those, they do the cheaper stuff. I don't really pay attention. Their labeling, branding kind of looks cheap. We're gonna see how the wine is. I don't really have any preconceived notions about this, so we'll go into this with a open mind. This one has a lot less flavor than the first one. I feel like it finishes pretty quickly. You get a lot of the vanilla, a lot of the oak out of this one. The butter's not really there at all. There's a little bit, the finish has a little bit more citrus though, a little bit like grapefruit, was like that. I feel like this is something that would pair a little bit more with citrus because I feel like it complements it well without being too overpowering. A little bit of smokiness and oakiness is not something that's my thing, but it's really not bad. Again, for how much is this one? $8.99 average price. It tastes like it, but it's not off-putting, so chalk that up as a win. All right, the next one we have is Bishop Pine Chardonnay. It's a 2021 from California. Again, there's not a whole lot to talk about where these wineries are, who they are, because none of them are anything significant. I'm just gonna jump right into this one and see how the wine's measuring up to the other one so far. This one's very different from the other ones. It's a very acidic, very citrusy wine. Vanilla and oak is much more of an undertone, where citrus is kind of taking over, in my opinion. The finish is not great, but it's crisp and acidic. I don't like it. I don't think it's a very good wine. I feel like it has a decent amount of flavor, but it's a little bit messy. It has a unpleasant aftertaste, but does not taste like what you would expect from a Chardonnay. I feel like the first one from Washington was so far the most stereotypically representative wine for Chardonnay. This one is not what I expected, not very pleasant. We're not off to a good track with the California one so far, so we'll see how the next one does. All right, we have another California Chardonnay. This is the Barrel Fermented by Cloudbreak. Don't know who they are, don't really care. It's a $9 bottle of Chardonnay. I'm not gonna even pretend to keep talking about this. This one's actually pretty interesting. It's a little bit toasty oak tasting. Not much vanilla though. Usually when you get the oak, you get like the vanilla undertones. I'm not getting this from this wine. I'm getting more of a vanilla, getting more of a buttery undertaste with the oak without vanilla, which is interesting. With again a citrusy finish that I've gotten used to from the last couple. And it's interesting because the finish is very short. It kind of comes and goes almost in the blink of an eye. Not a very memorable wine. This is kind of one of those, it's wine, not memorable in any particular way. Again, $9, not a bad option. We're just looking for drinkable here, and I think this one is not amazing, but drinkable. All right, our last California Chardonnay. This is A3. It says, perfect anytime, any place with anyone. Last time I heard that, it was from a pedophile in prison. Don't think that that was the way to go. That was probably a joke in poor taste. I just hope that this doesn't taste as poor as that joke did. Oh, that's really interesting. I think this is probably my favorite so far. But again, it's not really as reminiscent as Chardonnay as I would hope for. It's more of a pear, green apple, some oak but not overpowering, and a little bit of citrus as well. I feel like stylistically this is closer to a Sauvignon Blanc, but in a heavier manner, given that Chardonnay is a heavier grape. This is interesting. This doesn't taste like something I'd expect it would. This is for an appetizer like, let's say, a charcuterie board, maybe like a pear and arugula salad, something where you're looking for some citrus, something vibrant to pair along rather than to kind of just coexist. I'm pretty impressed with this for around $10. Is it complex? No. But is it pleasant, fun, juicy wine to drink? I think so. Okay, this ending on a good note with California, so let's see what France has to offer next under $10. All right, our last Chardonnay is this French one with a pretty label with a name I'm not even gonna bother to try to pronounce. This looks like one of those wines that France makes for export to the US. It really does not look like it's designed for a French audience whatsoever. This is designed for the housewife on her couch drinking an $8 bottle of Chardonnay who wishes she could travel one day, but the food stamps won't cover that. So we are going to see if this one's drinkable. I think the French viniculture and terroir has better hope for us, but there's probably a reason that this is marked, and I'm not super excited for that. Oh, actually, this is very similar to the last one. A lot of citrus fruit, grapefruit predominantly in this, a little bit of pear, but I think grapefruit is the predominant flavor. Really no oak or butter standing out to me in any way, which I find interesting. It almost seems like this was designed to not drink like a traditional Chardonnay. Very similar tasting notes to the last one, really good to pair with a light appetizer. A prawn cocktail would be phenomenal with this, or maybe like some colossal crab meat cocktail. Not a bad idea. I think we ended really strong. I think these last two are both excellent wines under $10 that are approachable, juicy, fun, really good social drinking wine. I think it's great for a party, and we're ending on a good finish here, so I'm pretty happy with that. Well, I thought that these Chardonnays today under $10 were going to be super oaky, super buttery, kind of not my wheelhouse, but I was kind of dead wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong, these three were pretty freaking terrible. These were just god-awful wines. This one was a little bit of the oak and the butter, but a relatively pleasant drinking experience. And these two were very much more drinking like a Sauvignon Blanc or something that was more focused on kind of the minerality, the citrus, the fruit, and was something that I was definitely not expecting today, but I guess I am not super familiar with $7 bottles of Chardonnay. So, sue me. So, I think if you're looking for budget white wines, I think compared to the video I did on Pinot Grigio, these are much more pleasant drinking experiences. These taste like you're trying to drink wine and not just trying to get drunk on wine. And that's something that, you know, maybe if that's not what you're going for, by all means drink the Pinot Grigio, but these I think were a pretty good showing for where they're priced at, and a pretty relative bargain in the market. So if you want to check out some of the wine events I do with more premium wine, check out the link in the description for those. In the meantime, like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell, do all the things to try to make this channel something that people care about and not just me drinking in front of a camera, because that's what makes it okay. Until next time, we'll catch you later. Thank you.